Typically in Europe, historically, wine was grown in the south of Europe, in Greece, Italy, Spain, and in the west, France, for example. In northern and eastern Europe, the climate isn't good for growing grapes, and so it was not a major wine-producing region. And so more, they are known for various types of spirits, distilled fruit spirits and things of that nature. If you had wine that you were making in Eastern Europe, it was low quality, and therefore you loaded it full of sugar. And this leads to one of these misconceptions in modern times that kosher wine has to be icky sweet, okay? It really starts there. It continues in America, as we'll talk about a little bit later today, but it really starts from there. There were other reasons also for adding lots of sugar into a Kiddush wine. For example, we start drinking young. You give your Kiddush wine to your little kids, and so you want it to be palatable for the kids, so they add sugar to it. Additionally, if it's not very good, you're not going to be drinking a whole bottle in one sitting, and so the added sugar in there helps to preserve it from week to week. The other option you had in Eastern Europe for Kiddush on Friday night would be raisin wine. Although there wasn't a good place to grow grapes, you could import raisins, and raisins last, and they can be in all kinds of climates, and it's something that we also discuss within the Muslim world as a solution. But I want to just highlight one interesting thing that connected to the raisin wine. The one time that for long stretches of history in Eastern Europe that raisin wine became almost across the board used was for Pesach, for Passover. And the reason for this stems from anti-Semitism. In Europe, many of you have heard of the history of blood libels. These were false accusations leveled at the Jews that they would slaughter Christian children and use their blood to either make matzah or wine. And especially these came around Pesach, as I mentioned, matzah. Well, raisin wine isn't red in color, it's brown in color. And so it lowered the ability for people to point at it and say, look, there's the blood. At least that was the idea of it. Whether that succeeded, it's hard to know. But certainly that was the reason. And so I think it's an interesting thing to point out that they did use this raisin wine to avoid potential accusations of blood libel.